Chris, you've often said that it's so easy to do things right, and that implies that we're doing a lot of things wrong. Could you explain that, please?
Well, I think that a lot of people imagine that business is about money. Business is about people engaging with each other to provide each other with products and services.
All right.
So first and foremost, it's about meeting human needs. And if you think about business from that standpoint, and you also think about living in this world in terms of minimizing the harm that you do so that others can enjoy the planet too,
I know.
then there are ways to go about things that work, and there are ways to go about things that don't work.
And you're talking about doing things right, and you're saying it's easy to do things right.
I'm saying that it is very easy to do things right. If people are being paid a pitiable wage, a doing it right activity is to pay them more. If people are engaged in activities that damage the environment, then it is entirely possible to engage in those activities in a way that radically reduces the environmental damage. I mean, if you can only sustainably fish out so many tons of cod per year, stop when that's done. The problem is that we think short term. We don't think about the fact that the air pollution that's being polluted, that's being generated now, means that our children or our children's children are going to have massively high rates of asthma and respiratory disorders. We just think, well, basically, I'm okay right now.
Sure.
And so it really is about living with a conscience and also being informed. If you're informed,
I think that's very important, being informed.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually know what's going on. I mean, I go, you go to China, you can't deny that pollution is crippling the planet. You go to cities of 10, 12, 15, 20 million people, you see this vast, sprawling, agonizing, environmentally devastating, crippling pollution. Only a fool would claim that it's not a problem, that somehow, it's all going to be taken care of, it'll work out in the end. No, it won't. It'll work out if we work it out. We currently possess the knowledge to do things right. But for example, politically, we don't possess the will.
No.
The amount of sunlight that hits the Earth in one day provides enough solar power to power all of the energy needs for the planet for a year. Okay? We know that. We know that we can't even use that much energy. But we're still relying on extractive technologies, coal, petroleum, natural gas, because those are the entities that, take our senators and congresspeople and whoever out to dinner every night and talk with them about how important it is to keep this going, and the shareholders are going to invest in their next campaign. We got to think differently about this. The activities themselves aren't hard. I read in National Geographic recently in a special energy issue that a 100 square mile setup of solar panels could provide all the power for the United States. A 100 square mile setup. I mean, go out into the middle of the desert where there's nothing. Take a corner of Nevada someplace, set it up. But we don't have the will to do it.
Is the issue profitability?
Yeah, people are thinking in terms of profitability. They're not thinking in terms of, I want my children and their children to have a good life. I want them to live on a planet that isn't spoiled, that hasn't been destroyed, rotten from end to end. I want the oceans to be full of life, not totally dead bodies of water. It's really about changing the way people think. As long as we think we're separate from others, that's Africa's problem. As long as we think we're not one humanity living on one planet, then we'll continue to make these mistakes. But I'm fully aware, what I do affects your life. What you do affects mine. What we do affects theirs. If we can manage to be more cooperative and less concerned about earning our millions or billions, but having everybody achieve a decent life, which we have the capacity to do, this would be a better planet. Look at the amount of money that we used to pay off AIG. What was it, $189 billion? That money would feed every hungry person in the world. Every hungry person in the world. It would rebuild every bad school in the world. It would rebuild all the bad roads and bridges in the world. It would do all of that instead of providing a few basically rich white guys with more money so they can enjoy their life in the Hamptons. So how about think humanely and grow happily? I like Bhutan, you know, what they say is that the most important thing in their country is gross national happiness.
Gross national happiness.
We should all be pursuing gross national happiness.